Hello there! It's nice to see you. And today, we're going to check the English basics. And then we will progress. So each topic, it's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit more complex. But we're gonna take it at your own pace, one day at a time. Discipline and constancy, and you will be fluent quite soon. Let's start with the alphabet. The English alphabet has 26 letters, each with its own name and sound. And the alphabet is divided into two different elements, as we have on one side the vowels, which, as a matter of fact, there are 5 letters. A, E, I, O, and U. Again, A, E, I, O, and U. Vowels are special because their sounds are open and voice, and they can change depending on the word. Example, cat, or cake, or sit, or sight. On the other side, we have 21 consonants. And which are the different consonants? Well, as in like the songs that you have heard or listened about the alphabet, right? We have B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Hello! Welcome to today's class. I'm very excited and happy for you that you are in this course. And we will start with the very basics, the English basics. And therefore, we have to check the alphabet. The English alphabet has 26 letters, each with its own name and sound. And the alphabet is divided into two different elements. On one side, we have the vowels, and there are 5 vowels. A, E, I, O, and U. Again, A, E, I, O, U. Vowels are special because their sounds are open and voice, and they can change depending on the word. Example, cat, or cake, or sit, or sight. On the other side, we have the consonants. We have 21 consonants. You may have heard them in an alphabet song before, right? And we have B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, and Z. And consonants are formed by blocking or restricting the airflow with the lips, teeth, or tongue. So it's not like but it's That's the difference between vowels and consonants. Okay, it's time to now check the subject pronouns versus or the object pronouns. And on the subject, we have that the subject does the action. So for example, we reviewed these before, right? The personal pronouns. I, you, he, she, it, which is the third person. You have to remember that. It's going to be very important for the future lessons and for future references. And after the third person, he, she, it, the other pronouns. We, you, but as in plural, not the singular one, and they, right? So that's the subject. When the subject does the action, it would be like, I record this video. So that's a subject pronoun. On the other side, we have the object pronoun. That means as an object that receives the action. As in, for example, it could be the object pronouns me, as in me, or you, or him. Instead of he, now it's him, or her, or us, or them. So an example could be, she likes me. I'm the object, I receive the action. So that's the difference between the subject pronouns and the object pronouns. It's time to check now this topic that it's titled Subject Pronouns versus Object Pronouns. And yeah, the subject is the one that does the action, right? So we checked these before in one of our previous classes or former classes, as we have the personal pronouns. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. So in this case, I could be the one that does the action, right? Like, I swim. As a matter of fact, I like to swim. So I swim every day. Yeah? On the other side, we have the object pronouns, where it changes. So it's not like I do the action, the noun, but in this case, I receive the action. I'm the object. So for example, it could be, she likes me. That's very nice, right? Or instead of he, as in the personal pronoun, it would be him, as in she kisses him. Okay? So that's about the subject pronouns and the object pronouns. Remember that you can check more in depth all of this information in all the different resources that we have available in this course. So you can back and log in as many times as you want and review the information, check the videos again, do the exercises. There are a lot of resources for you, not just to learn or to manage this information, but to master it. That's where I want you to get, and you will very soon. I'm sure about that. It's time to check now the possessives. And for the possessives, we have to add the apostrophe, okay? As well as the S after the apostrophe. And it could be, for example, we have John, right? So we could say that it belongs, something belongs to John. It could be John's car. That means the car of John. So that is one use of the apostrophe. Yeah, apostrophes are used for two things. The one that we're checking right now for possessives, where we add the apostrophe, but after the apostrophe, we add the S. On the other side, we use apostrophes for contractions, for example, right? But today's lesson is about possessives. So it could be, for example, Alex's camera, or Camila's cell phone, or Joaquin's laptop. Well, it's time to check the modal verbs, the basic use, yeah? But let me tell you first that I'm really happy where you have come in this course. You're advancing at such a good rhythm. Keep that momentum and you will master English in no time. Yeah, some discipline and constancy is necessary, but as a matter of fact that you're watching this video and that you're still here, that's very good. I congratulate you for that. And the modal verbs, as these are words to show ability, permission, or necessity. As in, an example could be, I can swim. That means that I know how to swim. But we also have, for example, the modal verb must, which is different, right? So we have, in this category, can, should, must. That's imperative. That's way more important, let's put it like that. Imperative, not important, imperative. So, for example, it could be, you must study for that interview if you really want to get that job and you have an English interview. You must study for the interview, like study about the company and all the information that they may ask you. Okay? There are other modal verbs, but that we will check on future classes. We have to keep it simple, short, and easy. So, can, must, and should. And yeah, you have realized, or maybe not, but after the modal verb, as in the example that I gave you before, we have the personal pronoun I, and then we have the modal verb can, but then we need another verb, as in I can play ping pong, or you must do your homework. Comparatives and superlatives. I don't know if you have heard these grammar elements before. I'm pretty sure that you may have. But if not, this is the best moment to check and review this information. And comparatives compare things, right? So we have to compare, for example, I don't know, this book is bigger than that book. So we're comparing two elements, right? And for the comparatives, we have a certain thing of rules, a set of rules I meant. As in, for example, if the adjective has one syllable or two syllables, we add the letters ER after the adjective. That's what happened with big. We add, well, this is a little bit of a different case. There are a few different case scenarios, right? Because big, it only has one syllable and it ends in G. Therefore, we have to add another G and then the ER. And after that, we add the word than, as in THAN, bigger than. This book is bigger than that one. But let's use another example where we don't have a word that's one syllable that ends with G. Let's say, for example, slow. Okay, so that, I don't know, BMW is slower than that Ferrari. Yeah, so we are adding the ER and then the word than, because we're comparing the BMW and the Ferrari. That's it. Nothing else regarding the comparatives in that specific case, where the adjectives have one syllable or two. But let me now explain you about comparatives that work with adjectives that have three syllables. In this case, for example, a very common adjective, right? Beautiful. So we cannot say beautifuler. That doesn't exist in the English language. In that case, we use the word more. That goes before. More goes here, and then the adjective in its base form, so we don't change anything. So it maintains beautiful, but now it's more beautiful. So that girl is more beautiful than that girl, or that other one. And that is when we are using adjectives that have 3 syllables or more. It's time to check now the superlatives. And superlatives compare among several elements. As in, for example, it could be that movie is the best. Yeah? So from all the different movies, that movie is the best. So in this case, we have for the superlatives that have 1 or 2 syllables adjectives, we have to put first the word the. And then, for example, we could say, I don't know, let me think of an example. That car is the fastest. I don't know which car is the fastest. Maybe a Lamborghini? That car is the fastest. So I'm comparing about from all the different cars. But it also happens here when we have adjectives that have 3 syllables or more. And in that case, we use most. Okay? So for example, let's use the adjective expensive. And I'm not sure which one is in the market now, but it could be, for example, iPhone 17 is the most expensive cell phone in the market. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not. Maybe there's another one. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video, and I always suggest you to practice a little bit about the comparatives and superlatives. Remember that in this course you have lots of resources to do that, but also externally you can practice. 4 macro skills in English, right? But besides those 4 macro skills, we have to concentrate in specific aspects, as in vocabulary. So a very common question, I've been a professor for the last 10 years plus, giving classes for students in Europe or in Latin America or even in the States, and all the time I receive this question: how do I learn vocabulary? Let me give you some tips for vocabulary. Well, you have to learn new words every day. It's not a matter of learning 10 new words per day. Not even 5 new words per day. I would say maybe 2, maybe 3 tops. You have to write them in a notebook if you want to have like immediate access to a vocabulary catalog, right? And it's always good to write the meaning and also some example sentences. The deal here is to assimilate, to incorporate those new words in your daily routine. So it's not a matter of, okay, I'm going to learn for this week 100 new words. In my experience, that's not how it works. Keep it simple, short. Yeah? Those are 2 primary basic and essential suggestions that I'm giving you from my expertise. And you have to use new words in your speaking and your writing so you remember them better. So it's not just about memorizing. It's about trying to use them naturally. Speaking and writing. Also, reading books, watching videos, and listening to songs in English will also help you see grammar and vocabulary in action. It's about having the vocabulary in context. So maybe this week you learn, let's say, 6 new words, and then you are exposed to a song where you listen that word. Or maybe you're watching a video and it shows up in the subtitles. That's it. And you will integrate it. Try to use it. This is the reality. For reading, with practice and patience, your reading will improve. It's not magic. You have to read. But there's no formula for it. It has to be something that you like, that you enjoy reading. So for example, I don't know, if you like reading about your job, maybe you're a firefighter, read about that. Or maybe if you're a lawyer, read about laws in your country. Or keep it simple, not that like sophisticated, let's say it, or like in relation to what you do every day, right? What about reading a kid's book? Start small. And yeah, read simple texts daily to build confidence and fluency. Remember that this is kind of the primary situation where we want you to be. Where you're like, if you start reading something extremely complicated, you're not gonna like it. You're gonna leave it there after maybe what, one paragraph or one page? So you have to treat yourself nicely with the reading at the beginning. And then you will progress and you will read whatever you want. So start short. Start with stories, articles, maybe dialogues. You can also underline new words to learn their meaning in context. This is related to vocabulary, right? Practice reading aloud to improve pronunciation and rhythm. And finally, summarize what you read in your own words to strengthen comprehension and vocabulary. And you will master reading, and in no time you will reading whatever you want. And this is the reality. The majority of the content in the world, in the websites, is in English. So it's a good thing to develop this macro skill. And I want you to get there.